Welcome back to Nortex Radio, episode 40. It's July 31st, one day from August. We got a good one coming today. Trade deadline coming up, a couple stars rumors, then Cowboys. We got training camp going on. Biggest takeaway I saw so far, just jumping right in, Gallup is pretty much came out and said that it's not realistic that he's going to be ready week one. Didn't say anything else either about when. Week 2, week 3, week 4. All he said was that it's not reasonable that he's going to be ready by week 1. That's the biggest thing I've taken away. So now, who's our number 2? CD's 1, obviously. Who do we go at 2? I mean, what's our receiving core looking at, like, at this point?
Yeah, biggest thing that I've seen so far, just early in training camp, a lot of James Washington reps, man. And so it's like you said, the Gallup statement kind of leaves us in the dark about a little bit. Like, if not 1, then is it week 2? Is it week 3? Does that mean week 6? And I think that was like that news was orchestrated on purpose. But I think there's definitely been there's been a lot more camera on James Washington the last 2 days. And I don't think that's by coincidence.
No, there has been a whole lot of James Washington. I mean, we're seeing it a lot. You get on Twitter, and there's a lot of James on there. But yeah, like that statement, it just comes out and is there something behind the scenes medically that they're not telling us? Like, are we looking at a month into the season, 2 months? Like, is this worse than what we're expecting?
That's what I'm afraid of, especially just coming out and saying, oh, he's not going to be ready for week 1. Like, if there was more of like, oh, he's expected to miss, 3 weeks or something like that. Like the uncertainty and like not having a timeline is more alarming than actually having a timeline.
So I mean, with that news, we're looking at you might as well start planning without him because we don't know when that's going to. So, Like we said, there's a lot of James Washington going on. Expect to see him on the field a lot. And then now this makes what was Tolbert? Was that 3rd, 4th round?
Yeah.
That makes that pick bigger. And which they've said pretty early on that expect to see that man on the field. Like, they got high praise about him. So right now it really feels like that's your 1, 2, 3 out of the gate without Gallup. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I want to see more of Jalen because, I mean, he's a rookie from South Alabama. Didn't get to see a whole lot of that. Don't got a whole lot of South Alabama games on TV. So hopefully the scouts saw something there. Obviously, that's why we were so high on taking him. Hopefully he can step up and make a big impact. But then after that, now we're really getting iffy.
Yeah.
If we go like wide outs, just empty backfield, what are we doing now? Because now we're looking at
Noah Brown. Yeah. We just
Cowboy
signed Devontae Turpin.
Yeah, just signed Devontae Turpin, the MVP of the USFL. Kind of a little guy, but super fast. And what I've kind of read in on him is he may be more of a special teams guy. I mean, Cedric wasn't a big guy. So, I mean, he may actually come in and help put him at the slot, see what happens. But he's so quick that, I mean, hell, look at the receivers that have, over the past, 5 years, what they've done, those small, fast receivers. That might be a steal. But that's what to look at. Noah Brown, Simi Fioco, when we get to, a no-back set, we're really starting to get slim pickings. Because then even if you want to go tight end, Dalton Schultz, what are we rolling with after that?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if we get any sort of just passing formation, we're getting thin. But the Gallup news is scary.
we might see more Pollard out there as well. I mean, you could be running something where you can do empty back set, but I mean with backs just in wide receiver, slots.
Right.
So you may see a Zeke and Pollard out there, and then Pollard splits that wide, or whatever. Like start them both in the back and then shift one out on the line. So I think you can have some creativity there, but yeah, it's a little alarming not knowing your number 2 or number 3 guy. I think you guys are right. I think social media is really pushing James Washington, but it's great. But not knowing when Gallup's coming back is terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
Yeah,
and a receiver core that again is questionable. And I think the reason why they're not talking about it is that like we traded away great receivers because Gallup will be back. Now Gallup's not back.
Yeah, so, I was about to say that this isn't us going into last year where you got Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. We're not worried about a damn thing. That's the least of our worries is our receivers.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh shit, okay, maybe we need to focus over here a little bit. And now how bad does that? How bad will that Cooper trade affect us? That's gonna be a big key.
And letting Wilson walk.
Yeah.
It's like the two, like if you keep Wilson and let Cooper go, it doesn't feel as bad. Right? Like we saw a lot of great things from Celtic Wilson last year. Even if he's the number 2, like no one's really that afraid because he had a lot of bright shining moments last year. But like you trade away Amari, which I still think was a good thing. That's fine. Like we can do that. We let Wilson go because we want to pay the money he's going to get. Okay. But if you're talking about a month or 6 weeks of Gallup being gone, that trade looks a lot worse. Which is why I think they're intentionally just saying, oh, well, not week 1. Because in minicamp, you got cameras in front of your face, Jerry and his posse. They're doing, interviews all week, and that question does not need to come up. So it's just, maybe week 1, maybe we'll miss it. That's fine. But we could be looking at the bye week and not see it. That's the terrifying part. So I don't know what they're going to do there.
I don't either. That's my biggest takeaway from training camp is the Gallup news. Other than that, rookies seem to be doing well. Biggest one I'm excited about, if we just choose a player, I'm most excited to see is Jabril Cox. I'm so excited to see him back. Had bad luck, got the ACL tear in like week 5 last year. The videos have been great. Lateral movements been fucking phenomenal. And you throw him back there with Micah, that's a deadly linebacker. So out of everybody, that's the most excited I am to see like what he does in training camp, how good he looks, and what he's going to bring to the table like coming into this year.
Yeah, I'm excited about Sam Williams, that 2nd-round pick, rookie, a defensive end. I think he's going to do great. He's showing pretty good flashes there in training camp as well. We can use as much depth in our, in that, middle defense as we can. So, getting some more options on a 3rd down in the blitz package or whatever, just to have more athletes out there, I'm all for it. But he's been doing well in camp, it looks like. So I'm excited to see him for sure.
Yeah. Anything left on the Cowboys? Try to move a little quicker. Nothing left. It's coming up. It's sneaking up.
It is. It's
2 weeks. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it. It's fucking 105.
Tomorrow is August. August is official football month.
Yeah, it's football.
We'll get the first games in August. It's football. So we're there. Taste it.
Yeah. Congratulations. Welcome. No Mavs news this week, so we'll go to the Stars. We've been waiting on this for a long time. What is going to happen with John Klingberg? We've talked about it for months. What's going to happen? Didn't move him at the deadline. Couldn't find an extension. Hit the end of the season. Shit kind of went stale for a while. Okay, now we're talking maybe can we swing him back? What's going to happen? Signed a 1-year deal in Anaheim. We knew that was coming. but sucks to see him go. I don't know if y'all want to hit anything on Klingberg, but yeah, 1 year, $7 million in Anaheim.
Yeah, he's pretty much getting a prove it deal. That's what it looks like. I think he's going to do well in Anaheim. I think Anaheim's going to be sneaky good, honestly. I think he's going to do a lot for that team. But yeah, he's pretty much just as such. He was been looking for a long-term deal, good to get money. He didn't get it. So Anaheim was willing to pay him bigger bucks for shorter term. So he's going to take that and kind of do that prove it deal. Now, will he stay in Anaheim after this year? That I don't know. And I think it's really going to depend on what Anaheim does at the trade deadline because they have a lot of young talent. And so it's going to really depend on where they kind of move, throughout the season, how well they're playing. But I do like their young stars there for the Ducks. So I think having Klingberg around will be good for them. It sucks for us to leave, but we can't pay him $7 million. Like we can't. That's not even if we're talking about us giving him a 1 year deal to keep him around, kind of like we did with Pavs in the middle of the season, where we just extend him for the year. I'm sure they had talked about it all year for Klingberg. That's not what he was interested in, and he ends up taking one. But we couldn't pay him $7 million.
No,
and we'd be lucky.
What'd you say our cap space was?
We're at 11. I think
13.5.
I think it was 11.4 is what we have, kind of estimated cap space right now. That's if we don't get rid of anybody, if we're to do any type of trades.
But
it's just kind of and again, that's without Robo or Otter contracts. So that 11.4 really kind of feels like 2 or 3, So I think that if we in order to get a deal done with Klingberg, we would have had to drop, we probably would have had to get rid of somebody else, either Kuryanov or maybe Foxa. And I don't know if anyone was really willing to do that. Just so they have, Fox has got a $4 million contract this year. So it's we're going to drop him out to keep Klingberg, and then we still have answers for Robo or Otter. We're still running out of room even with that. But I don't think we ever could have given Klingberg $7. I don't think that was ever considered or talked about. It's just we don't have the space for it,
Right.
So those deals need to get done. So he's got a prove it deal. Farewell. Thank you for all the good times. I hope you crush it and get a big fat contract anywhere you can. I want to see Klingberg be successful. He was never wanting out of Dallas. He made it a point that he loves it here. I feel like he has done nothing to mistreat the Dallas fan base at all. Just couldn't get the numbers to work, and he's got to move on. So.
Yeah, if you're throwing Klingberg hate out there, as a Stars fan, that's fucked up. You're wrong. You're in the wrong. It just didn't work out.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing probably Anaheim is missing. I think they're not really at a position to where they make a push for the cup, but I think they were, especially with Zegras and they had Ryan Strome. They have a good offensive set, but I think they really were lacking on the defensive end. So it's much less risky for them to go out and spend $7.
Maybe they need a goalie. Maybe they can take Khudobin off our hands.
Yeah.
Be up a little more space.
Also, at what point do we start to worry about the Ottinger and Robo deal not getting done yet? When do we start to worry about that? Because now there shouldn't be a lot of other transactions for us to make. So when are we going to start worrying about making sure we secure those 2 guys before something else comes along?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Just like I said last week, I still think that until we with Kling, now we know Klingberg's gone. I think we got to bring in another defender. And I still think that the deal's not getting made till Dallas is wrapped up free agency, right? Until they're done buying, they really we're not going to see those deals. I'm sure the numbers been floated around, and I think really the biggest thing is if they're going to front load the contracts or back load them, right? see. So, hey, will you take 3 this year and 5 next year, and then 7? Can we do something like that, or can we do, maybe 3, 5 now, 2 million signing, and then 4 the rest of the way out? So I think that's the kind of where we're still waiting on those contracts, kind of see what we do with free agency. Still all the rumors. If you're on Stars Twitter, which if you're not, get on there. We say it every week. It's a fantastic place to be. But if you're on Stars Twitter, the biggest rumor right now is Patrick Kane from the Blackhawks. Has him showing some interest. I don't think it is, but I mean, it's heck, anything's possible. I mean, the Blackhawks are always on sale. You know what I mean? Like they're in a rebuild again. They've been in a perpetual 4-year rebuild, and so they're starting over again. They started over like 2 years ago, and then 2 years before that. So, like was it Taves and Kane have been there the whole time for all of their 3 cup runs and the 3 rebuilds they've had in their career, which is just insane. So Kane probably could leave for less money, but I don't see. He is an old defender, but I mean it's like I don't know. I just would. My fear is running into like that kind of Suter territory, where you take an old veteran coming in, you give him like a decent contract, then you're kind of stuck with them. I don't think we can afford to do that. So.
Well, and the way it's looking too, like what I've been reading is, it's not going to be cheap. So we're looking at a high pick, if not high pick plus a high prospect. And do we really want to do that?
I would.
Yeah, I don't know. It just worries me, I guess, because we're going to lose. I think we lose 1 or 2 picks, and it's still like with him playing wing, like it doesn't really. If we were going to do that, why would we not offload? Say we offload 2 of our forwards that we already had, Gurionov and somebody else, hold on to Klingberg and then make the Kane deal. So I mean, I think some of the stuff probably similar to what you read, Lars, is like, yeah, this is like first and second round pick in 2023 is one of the hypotheticals for us to get Kane. Like, that seems like a big like Ryan Suter type. We front end a lot of capital and we don't really know. This one says 23 first round, 24 third round, and Wyatt Johnston. No, not happening. To tell you that. Yeah. That's stupid. So yeah, this is a first, a second, Maverick Bork and Logan Stankovic. Probably gonna pass on that too.
No, yeah. I don't want to give up my young stars. Now, the only way I can see it working now, I'm okay with like a third round. I wouldn't like giving up the first round, like a third round. And if we can dump some contract or, if we can dump some cap space, like if they'll take Khudobin, who's like 3.5 this year, he's going to be playing the Texas Stars, like Wedgwood's going to be our backup. He's making $1 million. The guy playing, for the Texas Stars is making 3.5. Like, so if they want to eat that contract, which, yeah. They could use a goalie, and I mean, in Chicago, could use a goalie, but they want to spend the money there. No, but it's like if we can't dump some cap space, like it's if we're talking about current players and not, picks, because I don't think we should give up any of our prospects. I don't think we should be giving up Stankoven. I
feel like if you give up a Khudobin like a contract dump, you're gonna have to go ahead and throw in a prospect in there too, though, if you're trying to free that space. I mean, because they're going to want something in return for taking that contract on. So I would love to dump that, but at the same time, you're probably going to have to make up for it with something else to make them want to take it off.
Yeah. And with them in a rebuild, they're going to want our young talent. You know what I mean? So that's the other thing. It's like they may not want the picks. Like, to me, you can give the picks instead of the prospect talent and then dump some, people that can start. It's just not really what Chicago's looking for. So I don't see any way we're getting a deal for Patrick Kane done. I don't think we should be trading any prospects for it. I don't think we should be getting a long-term deal on it. Like, to me, if we're going to be doing all this stuff, I would have rather have done that and kept Klingberg.
Right.
And just because of how important he is to the team and to the fan base. Like, I mean, yeah, I would have rather dumped all that stuff and kept Klinger. So I don't know. Hopefully no Patrick Kane deal happens. But that's sort of where rumors are at.
Yeah, to me, it just seems red flaggish. Like
Yeah.
it seems like eye candy, and we front load a lot. I guess if we had to make a deal, I would be okay with going a prospect or a pick, but not something that involves one or more of each. And
Right.
then to me, it still seems just danger zone. Like you said, I mean, he was there for all three of Chicago's Cup runs. Like he's been with that organization for like 12 years now, 14 years now. Like
Forever.
him and Taves have been there the whole time. Like he's a seasoned hockey player. Like and still great. Like obviously,
great.
but it's very easy. I feel like to get in that Ryan Suter type situation where we're like, oh yeah, here we go. Let's sell the farm for this guy on the front half, and he comes out and he produces 50 points on the season, and that's it. And we're like, oh, well, that's great. We got absolutely nothing out of this.
And then, of course, they'll have a no trade clause or no move clause. Just like
absolutely.
Suter has, and we're just saddlebagged with it for the next 3 years. Like, no thanks, guys. Like, so I'm not saying he's going to fall off, but it's just, you're talking about, like I said, I mean, you're over 10 years into this league. Like, I'll take him on as a coach.
Yeah.
Like, we do that? Yeah. I'm for that, but
yeah, we bitched about the Suter contract numerous times, and then I guess none of us really paid attention to the fine print, and that there is the no trade clause.
Yeah,
like damn, we gave him that money for that long, and then we're just like, no, yeah, we will not trade you unless you give us the okay. Like, solve the fucking wound, just make it worse.
Yeah, that's bad. Things about bad contracts again all over Stars Twitter is you see a lot of hockey Twitter, not even Stars Twitter, but like the hate for Sagan, hyper criticism for Tyler Sagan because he's getting $13 million this year, which is a lot. That's a lot. I mean, $8 million in a signing bonus, but still, I mean, his actual base salary is only $5 million. But yeah, he's getting $13 million this year. And that's
hockey Twitter's
of our
coming
cap.
for his head.
Yeah, it's I don't know why. I don't know why he became a target.
Yeah,
it was just out of the blue. Like I don't know who was behind all that. No, I don't know who was behind all that, but it was a very clear attempt to smear Sagan's name. I mean, he's come back from injury like last year, and he had a new line every week, every game almost. Like I'm sorry, like I don't think it's warranted. I think he's going to play much better this year. I think you're going to see the numbers, better this year, obviously. But let's just pump the brakes on the Sagan smear right now. He's getting paid a lot of money. We gave him a big contract. On paper, he's technically making more than Connor McDavid is, and we're not getting that production out of him. So it looks bad, but have faith. There's nothing we can do about it, so just have faith.
Yeah, because it's hockey Twitter that's fucking just coming after him. But like all the Stars Twitter, which we say go look, go join, is like, whoa. Y'all don't know what this guy's been through and what he's still doing. Like he's doing great for what all he has been and what he's still dealing with. So like all the doubt is like, what the hell just happened? Like, what is this?
I don't know where it came from. It was weird. It was really weird, but it felt very intentional. I don't know if somebody else is just trying to get a bigger contract. Going, hey, I'm at least better than that guy. He's getting $13 million this year. Like I'm telling everybody about it.
No shit.
I don't know.
Come after the Suter contract if you want to bash Dallas contracts.
But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like the Suter contract, as far as like cap it wise, isn't terrible compared to some of the other things we have on the book. But like his play and his age is what makes it hurt so bad. You know what I mean? Like, Sagan's 31, Suter's 38. Like that's a big difference in leg years. It's like a 2 decades. So like that's a pretty big deal. And and they obviously don't play the same position either. But the Suter contract just hurts. Every time I look at it, it just disgusts me.
And we're going to talk about it a lot.
Well,
it's just not going away.
Yeah, especially when we start getting these the line charts, depth charts and stuff coming out. We'll start seeing that here pretty soon because their preseason starting in September. I think their preseason.
Yeah.
So they're gonna start gearing up. Like they're gonna have start training camp here in a couple of weeks. So we're going to be able to kind of see any of our prospects moving up, like kind of how the line makeup's going to be, what DeBoer's doing. I'm excited about it. It's going to be good stuff. But,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like we got to fill that last defensive hole, and then we have to get the Otter and Robo contracts done. So I just think we're waiting for that last piece, and then we'll see the signings. I bet they all come out at the same time. That'd be my bet.
Could see it.
They'll have a news dump. Like, oh yeah, we traded for whoever, not anyone but Patrick Kane, and then here's Robo and here's Otter's contract. Like we're good.
So you might clear that up.
Yeah. And again, if we have to move someone to trade someone, then that may affect their contracts, for the better. If we can drop Kudobin's contract, like that does free up some money for Jake.
Oh yeah.
Or free up somebody for in front of Jake, which I'm sure he would be just as happy with. So, I mean, that's why I think those contracts aren't out yet. But still a lot of moving parts. I'm surprised it's gone. Like NHL free agency is still going on, and there are still. I mean, it's been in a lull for 2 weeks, but it's like there's a lot of people still moving. A lot of people that don't have homes yet, so that's exciting. Hockey's exciting.
Getting to a good time of year. Baseball wrapping up, and then all of the three ramping up. It's September, October is just fucking phenomenal.
Best time ever.
Oh, it is.
I mean, in a couple of weeks, we're gonna have every sport going.
Yeah.
I mean, just every sport going, especially with the baseball being delayed 2 weeks. Like, we're gonna get regular season games in October now.
Yeah.
So we'll have every team playing on all our sports in October. It's gonna be hell of a time. Hell of a time.
No shit. Moving on to baseball. West Coast road trip coming to a fucking end. Thank God. Those are just absolutely miserable. That's my biggest takeaway from being in the – I don't know. I bitch about it year in, year out. Why are we in the AL West? Dallas is just fucked in sports geography.
Mm-hmm.
We're just everywhere. But in baseball, where we have the most games, we're in the West. So 50 times a year, we're playing games at 9 o'clock at night in the middle of the fucking week. But Oakland kicked the shit out of us. They suck, but then they turn around and swept the Astros, so they're just hot. Not going to bitch too bad. Seattle was fucking good and just got better.
Yeah.
And then the Angels are just a gigantic shit show, probably worse than us. But out of those three, we've dealt with Houston for a while now. We've talked about our rebuild. This is about to turn into, and Houston may stick around because they got a pretty solid farm system. They got some young pups too. But looking into the near future, Houston, Seattle, and Texas is about to be a fucking slugfest between those three for that division. Seattle's looking scary at the moment. They may be – I know the Yankees are fucking good, but they may be the best team in baseball after that.
They had a real good week.
Well, until Julio is now going to the IL.
Yeah.
So that just killed him. But they just added Castillo from the Reds. So, they have the best rotation in the league. They got young pups with just – they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for a while. Because with what they gave up, and they said that the Rangers were involved in those talks too with the Reds, he's on contract for next year, but it's the same thing. And it's so weird that this year it's been a big deal. It hasn't been just all rentals. It's guys for the next year or year after that you want to extend. That's been huge with this year's trade deadline. It's not just complete rentals where, fuck it, we're going to go win, we'll be done with it. He can go about his way. So many people are looking for past that. And the Reds got a haul for him.
Yeah.
So what did that just do to the trade market? I mean, did that just make everybody else more expensive? I hope not.
With what they got in return, man, I mean, Luis Castillo is great. He's a great pitcher. And I get what Seattle's doing, but it's very hard pressed to not say that the Reds didn't come out on top of that deal.
Yeah.
they cashed in. So,
Jeez,
but
they
yeah, I
did.
mean, I think it makes everything more expensive. Like, it's because you have teams for the last 10 years in the AL West, 10, 15, 20 years that haven't been contenders that are now becoming contenders. Like, that's just that. I mean, that's sports economics right there. It's like the cost of the sport now goes up. Like once teams that weren't good start getting better, like everything becomes more expensive.
Yeah.
Their players are good now. Like, there's probably not a time, like, honestly, probably since the kid, that we can say like, oh yeah, Seattle has a prospect that we're like, that everyone's in fear of,
Yeah.
like, and now we're back to like, we literally were tweeting it within like seconds of each other the other day. Just like, I already hate J-Rod. Like,
Yeah.
already.
Like it's within a minute. Like it was seconds.
Yeah.
There's both of us like, I hate this guy already.
Yeah, just already. And like, that's what, I mean, over the last 2 to 3 years, we've seen the Toronto Blue Jays, like they're rebuilding, and like that was never a thing. Like you never heard of the Expos or the Blue Jays being legitimate contenders, and now they've surpassed the Red Sox in the AL East. Like now it's just completely different. Like baseball has gone full circle. So I think the price of everything is going up. Like we even set a trend to that, like this off season when we went out and spent $500 million. Like,
yeah,
it's wow. I mean, we set it more in like a long-term schematic. Like we're like, oh yeah, we're locking down for years to come. But I think even like you said, like we're seeing people that are like, hey, if we get something out of this year, cool. But we're investing in the next 2 years. So
speaking strictly Rangers, we got what, like 50 hours before the deadline, roughly, 49, somewhere around there. What do we do? Are we, which also baseball in general, but the Rangers in general, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we could just hold everything and not do shit, or we could turn around and somehow make the Juan Soto trade, like, there's already more news came out today that it's kind of limited down to 3 teams. We're not one of them, but that's how baseball and how the Rangers even so go. Like, we may just go quiet through the night, not do a damn thing, or we make the biggest fucking splash possible.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think we end up doing?
I think honestly for us, and I may be completely wrong about this, but I think I don't think that we do anything huge. I don't know that there's a market out there for us. We hit it big in the draft with pitching, and we always say, those are players we're not going to see for like 2 or 3 years. But we've also talked about Cole Winn. We have Reagans. We have plenty of pitching prospects as well. I don't see us like moving mountains to go get someone. Like we talked about it last week, like the way that Ezekiel Duran and Josh Smith have played, like that has cashed in huge for us because they've done exactly what we talked about, 6 months ago when we were at all this CBA stopgap. Like we were like, oh, that this whole season is going to be about people that can eat at bats and eat innings. Like, and that's what those two are doing. It doesn't matter. Same thing with Eli White before he went out. Same thing with Brad Miller. Like, it didn't matter. We were like, hey, we need you to play here today. They're like, all right, cool. So I don't really know that we go out and we hit heavy for something, especially if we're not in the Soto talks about. I think he's a great player, but there's just something about not just the way they play, but the way that they carry themselves that I like about Corey Seager and Marcus Semien. Like, I like the way that they lead the clubhouse, and I'm not saying Juan Soto couldn't do that. I just really like the demeanor that they have. They're just those guys you don't ever hear about for the wrong reasons. So,
what one I've seen is they keep saying that we're buyers because we're trying to buy for the future, which is wild that That's not often, and there's multiple teams trying to do it this year. It's just weird. Normally, you see those trades for those rental pieces who are free agents at the end of the year. So we haven't talked about selling. We've hit on the Perez wanting to stay here, that we want to keep him here. I like Perez. We've seen him before in the past. He came back this year as a Ranger, having the best year of his career. But talking to extension with him, I don't know why. He's peaking at 31. He's finally having a good year, an ace year, and now we're talking about giving him this money. I don't want to do that. How long can he keep this up? So why not trade him while the value is there? Get at least one good prospect in return that is close to big league ready, who can build with us, be ready to go in the next couple of years. But whatever the starting number was for both sides, neither one agreed because those talks have come to a halt. So they said they want to keep him around, but that's one I will not be shocked that if a team just comes in that needs an extra arm, hey, we're making a playoff run this year. Like, we're trying to go win. We need one more solid arm. I know you're not wanting to get rid of him, but here's this package. Okay, worth listening to. And there could be a package out there that's worth selling him. But that's one I feel like I would try to find a deal. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I would try to. The other one, Matt Moore. Matt Moore, I think he's pitched his last game as a Ranger because they already said he's thrown so much this week that he's probably done for the next 2 days. So Matt Moore is the one that almost feels like he's probably for sure gone. Relievers, you don't really get a whole lot in return, but you may get something back. On that, does Joey come back as a Ranger? Does that?
I don't know.
Because it's got to be cheap.
Oh,
we're not giving them shit in return.
Yeah, very cheap.
But who says the deal like a Matt Moore for Joey, but also we want you to cover half his contract for the rest of the year because he's a free agent at the end of the year. So just to get rid of him, because, I mean, his time's done. They got Benintendi. Yeah. They're looking to offload him somewhere. And they said, I believe, the Padres and somebody else. But the Padres aren't going to make a move until Soto makes a move because they're one of the three in on that. So why not? Here's Matt. We'll take Joey, but you're going to cover part of that contract. We're not paying for all of it. Then you get Joey back, get his feet wet, get him back. Welcome to Texas. Hey, you're back home, relax, chill. We're not fucking crucifying you. Like, let's get you back to who you were, back in your comfort zone. And then we'll talk money in the offseason. Like, why not? Who says that don't happen?
I mean, I think
are we against that? I don't hate it.
If it's like you said, I mean, especially even if I'm sure the Yankees are at an all-time high right now. They're one of the best records in baseball. They're smashing the ball. They have a great lineup aside from the whole Gallo, all of that. So if we do make a deal, like you said, for, Perez or that, I mean, that could be what they're missing is that fifth guy when they're like, oh yeah, we think we're going to make a run this year. Martin Perez is our guy, blah, blah, blah. Like you said, we've already theoretically, I mean, we've replaced Joey Gallo because they went out, they got Benintendi, that awkward shit where he like flew up there with the Royals and like never left with the team and all that weird shit.
Weird.
Like, it's just so weird. But like, yeah, I mean, if all it costs us is an arm and we're not making a push this year, it does. I mean, to me, it doesn't hurt. Like, people can sit there, and we've talked about it multiple times. Like, the surface level statistics you look at in baseball, like, granted, even below that, like F4 stuff like that, like Joey Gallo still does not have impeccable numbers. But I cannot entertain an argument with someone who argues with me about baseball strictly off of batting average. I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, if you want to talk to me about other stats, then that's fine. If you want to talk to me even just about WAR, like, wouldn't you have to talk about F-WAR or anything like that? But like, then I can have a conversation with you. If you just want to say, oh, fucking that guy is worse than Jeff Mathis because his batting average is lower than Jeff Mathis. Like, I can't have that conversation with you because there's so much more that goes to it than that. So you can't. Eli White is one of my favorite examples of that. Like, you can't. Eli White's WAR is almost over 1, and his batting average very rarely gets above 200. But the role that he plays on a team, sometimes for just 1 or 2 plays a game, is impeccable. That's why his wins above replacement is so much better. So
well, if I'm talking to the Yankees about Perez, I'd also be talking to Perez and like, hey man, like, because the Yankees probably wouldn't extend him, right? They're going to give the rental year to his contract. He still would be UFA next year. And so I think you could easily make a sweetheart deal with Perez, like, hey, we're going to trade you to the Yankees, arguably the best team in baseball. Don't forget about us, come November, December, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, get your title, get your ring, enjoy all that New York has. Them. Don't sell your house here. Just go up there and enjoy New York. Get yourself a little condo, and then do your best in the postseason. Then let's talk, type of thing. I think if you send him to a contender like that, and he's again, he'll probably be maybe 4th in their rotation. I mean, as a lefty, I mean, he could even be 3rd, I guess. But he could play a big part in the Yankees. I think the Yankees would have some, definitely pique their interest. And if they could dump Gallo on us, I'll take him back for sure. I'm with you guys on that one.
Even if you double up on it, like a Gibson Kennedy trade that we did with the Phillies a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Moore and Perez to the Yankees, and then we'll take Joey, and we'll take a prospect off your hands. So now you got a strong lefty that'll join your rotation that can get you 6-7 innings, and now you got one of the best in the game this year, who I might be the bias in me, but kind of had a chance of being an all-star, and Matt Moore is a reliever.
Oh, yeah.
Who has a sub-2 ERA. So now you're getting a guy that can go 7 innings for you, easy, with that fucking lineup, and then turn around and you have a strong lefty out of the pen also. Yeah, give us Joey back, and we'll take a prospect off your hands. Why the fuck not? I would love that.
And if they're eating half of Joey's contract, they may not even need the prospect. Honestly, I mean,
if we give them both, I want one.
Yeah, well, if we give them both and they're eating half the contract, that's almost like getting 2 players, right?
Yeah.
Getting a player for half off. But I'd be okay with either one of those. But I mean, a package deal may be what they're looking for. And I think Matt Moore would have made the All-Star game if, the storyline all year hasn't been how bad the Rangers bullpen is.
Yeah.
Like he's a shining star and he's under 2 ERA. Like, he was doing great, but you're attached to probably the worst bullpen in baseball. So it's like, well, he's probably not an all-star, I think that kind of hurt him. But I think he put up all-star numbers. He had better numbers than some of the guys that got selected. So he's just on a team with a notoriously bad bullpen who, I mean, all year has blown leads in the 7th inning, 6th inning. Had a reliever come in and give up 5 runs. I mean, that's just been the story of our season. And so it's just hard to look at a reliever from that bullpen and be like, oh, that guy's really good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And we also have a really good track record with transactions with the Yankees. As much as I hate the fucking Yankees, there's something about deals that go down between Texas and New York that normally work out very well for us. And a lot of times actually very well for them. That's one where when those two make a trade, it normally pans out for both sides. So
that's my thing. I'd love, and I think John Daniels has developed this too. In my personal opinion, the Steinbrenners are not good at making baseball deals. They're not. They have no in my eyes, they don't have any type of long-term vision. They're very typical. This is why they're such a good fit for owning the Yankees and managing the Yankees, because they're just like Yankees fans. They're very in the moment. They gave us 2 of their the most recent deal we've done with them. Look at how well that's paid off for them. They gave us 2 of their better prospects for Joey Gallo because they were like, we need a bat. We don't know what's going to happen with Giancarlo Stanton and his repeated injuries and blah, blah, blah. We need a bat. We have a short porch in left field. Joey Gallo is going to thrive, blah, blah, blah. We'll give whatever we have to do to get the team to win this year. And maybe that does pan out. Maybe they do win. It's not going to be because of Joey Gallo. And in my opinion, it cost him a lot. And I think I think JD understands that. And he's like, so when it comes time to make a deal, especially with him, much like you being prospect minded, that's the first place he looks. He's like, oh, what do the Yankees need for their next 20 games? And what can I get from them?
But the Yankees place no value in their prospects.
Correct.
Because they're spending money on starters.
Yes.
Like they don't need it. Like them having a farm system really is just for show.
Yeah.
They got the money to buy whoever they need. So their farm system is literally just pawns that they can use to trade. And so you look over there, JD looks over there and says, oh yeah, I actually got some talent. They'll never use them or care. They probably don't get reports. There's no way the Cyber is going to report anything going on in the farm leagues at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they have to be reminded that they have to pay the light bill for some of those stadiums. You know, hey, by the way, you own other teams too. Like, by the way, I don't know if you remember that. I'm with you. I think it's a good fit for Perez. I think if we can get Joey back, I'm happy with that. But I really think that might be who you're calling first, at least.
Oh yeah. My Texas Heat, I'm sticking with it. It's Chris and John. It's trade deadline week. Like we said, we're 49 hours away. So trade deadline, it don't matter, buyer, seller, it's always exciting, but it's always big on them. So those two, they're feeling my heat. I'm sure they're feeling it off the phone calls they're already making and receiving. So that's my heat for this week. Them boys, let's see what happens by Tuesday.
Who you got, Lars?
My Texas Heat still, I mean, it was last week, will be this week, Jim Nill. Still, just because we don't have any Robo or Otter news. Like, there is no question they are our future. They deserve good money. You got to think they're both looking at $4 to $5 million a year, you'd imagine, which is why, like I said earlier, you know, that's probably the way they're waiting on the trade stuff because that would fill up their cap without filling the defensive hole. So I think they're both worth that. Nothing's happened. And they've just been so tight-lipped about everything that, like, we don't even know where anyone's leaning, which is probably strategically pretty good, but kind of leaves us out in the dark. So if you're not going to tell me what you're thinking, I'm just going to assume it's not good. So you're in the Texas Heat for me.
Yeah, mine. I'm going to go with the bullpen. Man, we've hit on it off and on all year. We've talked management, we've talked front office, we've talked to other teams. Like mine is just like end of the day, like these guys are professional level pitchers. Honestly, aside from Matt Moore, like we haven't had anyone consistent. We gave up 5 last night in the bottom of the 8th. Like, and it doesn't matter if it's left, right, young, old. You know, we have Jonathan Hernandez coming back. Like, I mean, not on a catastrophic level. Like, I wouldn't dare to equate it to like 2010, 2011, but like, I'm still haunted by the Emmanuel Clase trade. Like, every single day I open my phone up and he's throwing 103 mile an hour cutters. So I'm still just sad about that. I don't even
We got one inning out of that.
Yeah, I don't even know if Corey Kluber's still alive. So that's very disheartening. But it's just a bullpen. It's all just like Brett Martin was the guy last night. There's not one thing or another. It's, you know, we've talked about Taylor Hearn struggling. We've talked about using an opener. Like, I mean, aside from Matt Moore, like Matt Bush is really the only person that's had some sort of like legitimate consistency here lately. Like, and it's just like, that's the kryptonite to the Rangers right now. Like, we can hit the ball. We have prospects. Like, I'm in love with how good of a player Josh Smith is for this team. Like, we've talked every angle of this, like we said we were going to do before baseball season started. We said when the bulk of baseball season gets here, we're going to dissect this. We've dissected Cole Calhoun and his leadership. We've dissected young prospects. We've dissected pitching, and like that's where it always goes south is the bullpen. So we've tried using openers. We've tried, we've tried everything from Matt Bush starting a game to Colby Allard starting a game to, it's got to be the bullpen. There's at some point those guys, which I'm sure they're probably getting the heat consistently because we have a great pitching system. So they probably understand that these shenanigans are real short-lived.
Oh yeah, we got 2 more months of it because obviously that's not going to get any better at post deadline.
Yeah.
My Lone Star, I'm going to roll with it just because he may be gone. Martin Perez, he's been phenomenal. This year has been unreal from him. Like I said, we've saw him in the past as a Ranger for like 4 or 5 years at that time. Great ground ball guy, got double plays out the ass, but never been an ace, never been a superstar. And this year just came in and he wasn't even supposed to be the guy. It's supposed to be John Gray, which John Gray has been great. But Perez has came in this year and been absolutely phenomenal. He's my Lone Star because he may be gone in the next 5 minutes, but we don't know if time comes to an end. Appreciate you for this year. Maybe we'll see you back next year if you do get dealt. I hope you get dealt. That sounds shitty, but for the business side of it, I hope it happens. But Martin Perez, my Lone Star, hell of a year.
Yeah, my Lone Star is probably, I have to say, James Washington. Cowboys practice. There's been a lot of highlights from him. I like seeing him getting in there and just working out. They're having him on some seam routes. With Dak looking for him. So to me, he's shown out pretty well at Met Camp. Looks like he's really fighting for that number 2 spot with Gallup being out. So I like to see kind of how that progresses. And I think he's been, like I say, he's been showing good hands at camp. So if I can continue, and then it'll make me feel a lot better about the wide receiving core. So if he keeps showing out like he has this week, I think that I would sleep a lot better when the regular season kicks off. But with the Gallup mystery out there, like it's just nice to see some quality hands, in the wide receiving core. Somebody else to counter out CeeDee Lamb. So that's my Lone Star for now. For this week, I can't.
Me just doubling back, same thing, working with pitching. The flip side of the coin, I'm going to go Spencer Howard. Pitched good the other day. It's a small start. It's 5 innings, but regardless of how you want to break it down, he's throwing against Shohei, pitching and hitting. That's still a good lineup. They just don't have it together, but you're still looking at, Shohei, you have Trout. You have a great lineup. And I was really torn between him and Nathaniel Lowe, just because it seems like Nathaniel Lowe's really got his hands going lately. He's really hitting the ball. But in a doom and gloom organization where we're always trashing pitching, Spencer Howard came out and it's not even a quality start, but the way that we've been trending, like it's a quality start. So
it's a quality Rangers start.
Yeah. Yeah. So
he's young.
To give up 3 hits, nothing earned. Like I'll take that, especially with where we're at.
Yeah.
Get some of that dominant experience, good outings, just build off of it. Build for the future, brother.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it, unless y'all got anything else to wrap up with.
Nope. Rangers in right now.
Yeah, not until there we go. Yeah, not until Direct gets traded to the Mavs.
Well, shit.
Never gonna happen, but it was fine.
Stay tuned. Trade deadline's gonna be wild. And we'll definitely have more next week. So we'll see y'all.
Peace.